streaming.
Oh, we're preparing. My computer's being really slow here.
See, when you're a big poobah, you probably can't even do this with the little people anymore.
I hope I still can.
Who
All
will
right.
be the streamer? Will it be
Yes,
Jane
you
or
can.
Michelle or?
We are going to be streaming, and actually we should be streaming live now. There will probably be a few seconds of delay, but hello out there, SC4. Welcome to our open mic poetry reading. We have Suzanne O'Brien's class. Suzanne is here with us, and we have Catherine with us. So I guess I'll turn it over to you now, and you can go ahead.
Okay. So I am a student at SC4. I'm in Suzanne's poetry class currently, and we decided that doing a live stream poetry open mic would be the best way to reach students and get poetry out there during this COVID-19 situation that we are in. So, and if you're joining, please have some poetry ready that you would like to read, discuss. It can be your own poetry, poets that you are familiar with that you want to share. We would appreciate it, and we are excited to see who joins us today. And I'm going to go first. I have I'm going to read one of my poems that I wrote.
This is a good warm-up from when we have other people.
Yeah,
you could do it again.
I gotta find my poem. Hold on. I thought I could. I don't know if I can get it while I'm in this meeting. Oops. Hold on.
We're all learning. This is all good.
Yeah, because I was expecting I could go to like my Word document, but I don't think I can leave. But I think I have it on my phone. Yeah, like it won't let me like close. Hold on, wait. Here we go. Got it. Okay.
Brilliant.
So this was one that I had written for a creative writing class last semester. Suzanne, this is the one that I sent into patterns submissions.
It says, oh, okay. And so I think we picked at least a couple of yours, didn't we?
Yeah, this is the one that you guys had picked. It's kind of interesting story because like with I took it with Jacoby, and she had us do a revision on some of our poems. So this poem was completely different the first time I wrote it, and it turned into what it is now. And I wish I could show you guys the what it was before this, because it's like a total 180, and I'm really proud of myself. So I'm gonna read it, and then I can explain the meaning behind it after. Okay. So it goes, its name is Depression. I'm a little girl visiting my father's home. Its Victorian shape is slouched with age. Cracked white paint covers each wooden shake. A curved broken walkway wrapped in a million strains of emerald grass. In pink boots, I tipped over each crack and sneak through the creaky front door. I jump into his arms, then realize we are not alone. My heart pounds as I stare at it. The black figure has returned. Unnaturally tall and slender, its face is bare, and its body emits a cold fog that sends a shiver down my spine. The black figure invades my father, weighs down his shoulders, hides his eyes in darkness, and eats away at any sliver of happiness until he is as empty as a corpse buried decades underground. It imprisons him, pushes him across the cramped room, and forces him into a fetal position on the small red couch. I follow, then collapse to the floor. Hot tears run down my cheeks as I stare at my father's hunched back, watch his slow, heavy breaths, and silently wish I could save him. The black figure lingers, and its hand never leaves my father's shoulder.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm trying to get back to this.
I think what I remember when you were working on this one was I know you were meeting with Jim Frank, and I was worried that all the discussion would make it more confusing of a process to you. And I wasn't sure how the work was gonna come out the other end. And
Right.
actually, yeah, I agree with you. It really, um, it was a provocative poem to begin with, I think, because it's such a
Yeah.
it's difficult to talk about those times when we want to be close with somebody, and there are just these conflicts that are there, and it really is interesting the way you went about it.
hmm And the first version of this poem, before I had revised it, I had written it in a way where it kind of had like I focused on my dad's depression like subsiding and him getting better over time, because when this happened I was super young, and I was at his house, and my mom had dropped me off for the weekend or whatever. My parents have been divorced, so I was just spending the weekend with him, and he was just like having a moment, and I just remember like sitting there and he wasn't talking to me. And so like that memory is kind of just like burned into my head. And um, so I wrote a poem about it. But when I first started, the first half, the poem that inspired me to write this was Hope is a Thing with Feathers by Emily
Yes.
Dickinson. And so like I kind of went with like having hope and like getting over the depression and seeing my father now compared to then, but then I turned it into focusing on this one horrible moment
Yeah.
instead, but it worked.
I still think it evokes, maybe I'm thinking negative capability again, but I think it still evokes hope in an unusual way,
hmm
because
Yeah, because go ahead.
we'll put that in even though it's missing.
I'm going for a ride.
Yeah, and even now, like I haven't until now I haven't seen my father like in that condition, so I think yeah, it does speak to having some sort of hope that, things aren't always going to be horrible and bad and such. So
Well, that was fantastic, Catherine. Thank you so much.
thank you.
I know that we have Andrea here also. I don't know, Andrea, are you ready to read a poem or?
I wasn't gonna read, I was just gonna watch.
Oh, okay, that's fine. You're very welcome to do that. Thanks for joining. All right. So, do we have anybody else out there right now that would like to read a poem? Let's see. I don't see anybody else right now.
I saw Haley was in here for a second.
She was, and then she left. So hopefully she'll drop back in, and maybe she can read something, or maybe she has something too. Here she is. She's coming back right now. So hopefully we'll have another poem.
Sorry about that. I had to go off mic for a second because somebody was talking to me.
You're fine. You're fine. Haley is joining right now, so hopefully
Go Haley. Go Haley. Is it Haley Hool?
Yes.
Woo!
So she is on her way in. So
I guess this is where I do a thumbs up reaction. Yes.
How do you do that? Oh, okay, hold on.
I saw a reactions button and I clicked on it. I've also played with cool screen backgrounds, but I tend to turn into the background.
Yeah, so do I.
I look like I'm like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds or something. It's not good.
I wish there was more reactions besides these
Yeah,
two.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad they're positive ones. But still.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right. So
I think Haley's camera is turned off, it says.
Oh,
is.
go ahead.
Does she have a mic connected?
She did. I'm not sure her connection is always good, but we should be able to hear her.
Yeah, you know what? It doesn't look like she does, unfortunately. Oh no.
Was she having problems yesterday? I can't remember. I think she came on. I could hear
Yeah,
her.
she was in class yesterday, but I remember, I don't know if it was just my screen, but she was frozen in place for, quite a long time.
See.
I know Haley Hool was on here earlier, but that Haley is like my friend. I invited her to it, but she don't have, or like her audio isn't working.
Is that you, Andrea?
Yeah, it's my friend.
Good to
Also,
know.
is that Haley Hulu?
No, she was on here earlier, but that's not her because she had her full name up here.
Oh, okay.
But she can't get her audio to work right now.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not my meeting, so I can't see all the participants. So I have to rely on the
yeah.
other Haley to tell me what's going on.
Yes. That's all our participants right now. We got Andrea and Haley and Catherine. So I don't know, Suzanne, do you have any poetry you'd like to share while we're waiting?
Catherine, is that your dog or is that Jane's dog?
That's not my dog. I'm not at home today.
I need to let her outside.
Oh, okay. Let your dog out.
I'm going to, yeah.
Oh, let your dog out. Woo, woo, woo.
Well, go ahead. I'll hand you the reins.
Okay, I've got him, I guess. This is a book that I was given for my birthday that I don't think I read anything out of it for the class, but another poet friend of mine was quite excited by it and gave it to me, and a really unique voice, Meme Bursenbruch, I guess. And I don't know, I guess because I've talked to the class about this kind of thing before. We now know the importance of titles, right? So the title is Immortals Having a Party. And then you can see the line arrangement almost looks pretty prosy, kind of sentences that are just dragged out along the page. And I have to admit that usually that's not my first, I don't know how to put this. I guess I have a bias where I like a little bit more arrangement in poetry than stretching things out visually. It's just a preference, I guess. But I really found this work attractive, also because the ideas are quite startling. I'm just going to read. It goes on for several parts. I'll just read parts 1 and 2. So again, the title is Immortals Having a Party. This is section 1. You could be a person or you could be immortal, a wave in the environment. How to describe energy without matter, without dimension or gods? Through space, the world is past. A year has gone by. The word for earth, world is year which moves in time like water in water. It does not pass. Their word for cosmos is year. We say time contemporary with creation. Our births, the birth of our daughter, was constitutively blessed by the presence of gods. Say goddess, divines. At our age, world grows into time faster than light, and energy in the medium of love. No quanta, rays, waves, no gods or geomantic force. Angels, not even ghosts of those who loved us, who were present at the origin, co-creating, now light without light. Light is reversible. Air in air, my mesa comes into being in world like love and divinity. In winter, we move south where flowers can blossom. Lightning flashes there, rain. Every story happens. There, life was created by gods and revealed to my family through celebration. Cosmic time coming forth as beautiful pattern time without age. Before this juniper tree existed, time in which it grew after drought did not exist. Time rushes forth with the appearance of any new thing. It makes an orientation in 4 directions and above and below, marking clouds, movement, and potential for rain, the sky with morning star in winter when time proceeded so slowly. I wake at dawn and see the full moon eclipse in apricot shade, setting into the Emes cerulean blue sky, dark caldera. I go to the mountains, sun through trees seems to activate air as a material substance. emerald moss is the whole ground, it's spring. So I don't know, I think, I don't know about everybody else, but to me that because of COVID-19, or at least I'm chalking it up to that, ordinary life has had a more surreal quality to it. And it's not just because I'm having to remember to put on a mask before I go into the grocery store and look at the strange presentation of aisles, or it seems that our environment was interrupted, and some of it in really beautiful ways, like we're seeing the environment become more beautiful. But then there's this other sensation where time, the way we used to know it, is stopped, and we keep wanting to get back to the regular pace of things. And this poem reminds me that whether we like it or not, time is our construction in that way. And it's the poets and that people with that kind of imagination that can put that into language. And somehow normal's not the word I'm looking for, but it made surreal feel like it was something I was supposed to take in, instead of like, it's felt unpleasant to me. Not just people's unhappiness and not just the way we've been coping and, trying to stay positive. I think always trying to stay positive is a good thing, but I think it's hard for us to really describe in language the kinds of inner feelings that we have and feel comfortable expressing. And so for me, I know that because of just trying to get the semester finished and help students feel like, yes, we can do this together. However, I have to find you. That part's actually okay. It's when I am trying to deal with the other stuff that I step out of that and into this surreal existence where I'm not even sure that I'm existing, because however I used to do it, the way I constructed my whole idea of, now I go to work, now I talk to somebody in the hallway, now I run into the writing center and say something senseless and leave again, or that's gone. That's gone. And
Yeah.
so what's left? Can I name it? I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because there's been a loss of boundaries. So I know what you mean. For me personally, going to work and coming home was my routine every day. And now that's been completely shifted, and we're dealing with our new normal. So I can understand that. It's hard to put into words.
What if we had a library, nobody could touch any books?
Oh, how sad would that be?
I think too it's hard because we don't know when things will be regular again, and I think that's like a really hard part to deal with too.
The not knowing.
Just not knowing. That's hard for me, at least.
That's right.
Well, we can hypothesize that May 15th will somehow bring some sort of magical essence, right? But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you're right. There's a gap.
Yes. Uncertainty.
Yeah.
Right now.
So Haley, did you bring any poetry?
She's still not able to get her mic to work. She's trying it on her phone.
Okay. What about you, Andrea? Did you bring anybody?
I don't really have any poetry.
Okay, I know you like it though, so I'm glad you're here.
Okay, Haley's coming back in. Hopefully we can get her joined. All right. The fun of technology, right, everybody? This has been quite an experiment.
Yeah.
Guys, I can use it now. This is Haley.
Hey.
Woo!
Great.
Hey, Haley.
Hi, Haley.
Hi.
What you got?
Okay.
Did she go
Just
away?
1 second.
Oh, no.
Okay, good. I just thought, oh no, her mic went out again.
This is very quiet. I gotta like figure this out.
Oh, that's okay. We'll just take a brief pause while we get the technical difficulties worked out. Hopefully everybody understands at this point, since we've all been doing this for a couple months now. We should be experts at this point, right?
Yeah, that's why I had to ask, you, are we in Teams or Zoom? I don't remember. Where are we?
Right. Constantly changing. Oh,
Okay, I got it.
oh, all right.
Okay. Trust used to be a given, but now it's hidden under your portrayal. Your lies will sail along the mournful sea. You left me on the island of despair, and I cannot bear to think of the love we used to share. You thought you found better. I sent you a letter, you never said goodbye. I knew your I love you was a lie, and now I want to die. I thought there was trust, but it was just your lust.
Oh, the dog is sad.
I'm sorry, that's my dog. She was quiet for the dog event, but
That's how I felt. Did somebody say, was somebody mean to you, Haley? If so, I'm glad you wrote a poem about it. I used to think that I'd think to myself, go ahead and be mean. I'm going to write a poem and you'll see. And it actually felt pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
How does that one feel to you now? Did we lose her? Uh-oh.
she's still here. But I don't know.
She just didn't want to answer. I just thought it was a cool idea.
Yeah.
It's an emotional thing when you sort of, not just the writing of it, but also when you read it.
Absolutely. Poetry is very emotional. Can
She said it wasn't working again.
oh.
I was hoping for another like poem that was gonna suggest a little emotion like that again.
Yeah.
So does she read her poems to you, Andrea?
Yeah, she reads. She has a bunch of them. She always reads to me.
Well, if you have them, then you should read her poems.
I don't know if I have any right now. I can ask her.
Don't you have any on your phone? Come on, press
I'll
up.
try.
I have a few more too, if we have some
Good.
time. Joe, I don't know. I had a thing.
Which one
These
is that?
Okay, so this is called The Poetic Underground by Erin Hansen. I found her poems on just like looking on Pinterest or Tumblr or whatever. She has a blog on Tumblr where she posts all of her stuff. She's more of a contemporary poet, and she's from Australia. And I actually think Andrea would like some of this work because it reminds me of what's her name? Ruby Carr? I
Ruby Carr, yeah.
Yeah. So like they're a little bit longer than some of the Ruby Carr would write, but she also has like little short 4-liners. But she says that Erin says that her inspiration comes from watching nature. And she realizes that the nature's patterns can be directly related to patterns and emotions that exist within human beings. And she writes a lot of her work based off that. And I found one in particular that sticks out to me with the whole nature thing in mind. It's titled, "My Mind is an Overgrown Jungle." My mind is an overgrown jungle, and your axe blade won't help you at all, because the vines of my pain are too thick here, and the thorns of my sorrow too tall. My mind is an overgrown jungle. There's no entrance to let you inside, in fear that you'll cut down my branches and find the feelings I've worked hard to hide. The vines tie in knots in my jungle to form a rooftop that blocks out the light. So the sun might be warm on the outside, but the inside's as cold as the night. There's a house made of thorns in my jungle. I spent years making it feel like home. I can do anything that I want here to take my mind off the fact that I'm alone. Because the problem with overgrown jungles is there's always more vines that will sprout. And I know that it's hard to get in here, but it's 10 times as hard to get out. So I like that one because I can definitely see where her inspiration comes from with like the patterns and such things in nature and how they can correlate with us and how we work as human beings. And I think that it is something that probably everyone does is they push away and like hide these feelings and pains and emotions that they just don't want to deal with until it becomes crazy and too much inside. And I can relate to that too.
What did you say her name was?
Erin Hansen.
Okay.
But I just found her on Pinterest, I think it was, and then I bought her book off Amazon. There's a few, I think she has a few books, and then she posts on her blog like all the time.
Yeah, sometimes I get a lot of good ideas from writers' blogs. And they're talking about particular ideas that they're working with or experiences that they're having. And sometimes they get an idea about whether they want to read somebody by looking at their blog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like her too because after reading some of her stuff, like I find that her poems are about things so literal and like just like everyday things that everybody deals with, but she turns them into things that are poetic and is able to portray them in different ways than the average, I would think. So that's why
Mhm.
she interests me.
Good. Good so far. I think
Mhm.
we're on to something. I mean, I like this idea.
Yeah, it was definitely an experiment.
You're just saying that because you're embarrassed by your dog, and actually, I thought the dog is the hit of the show.
Yeah, she has to pick the worst times, of course, but what are you gonna do? Well, does anybody have any other poems they would like to read or talk about? Or Suzanne, do you have anything else?
I kind of think it should really be left with the students. I didn't mind sharing the one that I shared, but
Yeah.
I kind of like what the students have had to read so far, and I kind of want that to be the focus.
Yes, agreed.
So,
Sick.
well, and I mean, Jane can attest to this. Back in the day when we were definitely more of an on-campus group, I used to arrange poetry readings pretty regularly, actually, and feature some of our student poets and then sometimes community poets with
Yeah.
them, and they were really pretty well attended. I
Yes.
thought, but I mean, now it's really hard because people have so many choices of times and crazy schedules. It's hard to get a confluence, and so I think this might be the only way to pull a group together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, you can use a polling instrument to find out, like, well, would lunch hours work best, or right before dinner, and see when that might work for people. And it has, I kind of miss, and maybe it's just me, I kind of miss the physicality of sharing a room, kind of like live theater.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, there is a certain intimacy about doing it this way that is something I can appreciate, you know?
Yes.
So I don't know. As far as I know, I sent her an email about it, but I think we've got Catherine for like one more semester in fall, and then that's it.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
if she doesn't totally hate the idea, we could probably try this again, even though it's not National Poetry Month.
oh, that would be good.
I'm up for it.
Awesome. Well,
Good.
thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, those of you that shared with us. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Haley, Andrea, for joining us, and anybody else that watched. And hopefully we can do this again. And hopefully things will be back to normal and we can actually get together. That would be ideal. But all right. Well, I guess we'll sign off for now, and I will end our live stream.
Okay, can I ask Catherine one thing before we go?
Of course.
Catherine, do you think we need to have a writing center meeting today, or what do you think?
I don't think it would be a bad idea. It's been a while, and then with the whole thing yesterday, like I think ever since our hours were cut short, I had slammed with students, and it just
Mm-hmm.
bad timing, I think. Like I don't know if you were included in the email, so I can't
I
remember,
saw it. I did see it.
but I asked Brendan for help.
And Brenda was okay with that, but okay, so and it's supposed to be at 3:30 because somehow I had it marked in my calendar as 2:30.
I always thought they were at 2:30 too.
Okay, so Brendan said, "Don't you mean 3:30 last time?"
Yeah, I don't know why. Because I always remembered it was right after we finished class.
That's what I thought. Okay, so I'm only semi. Everything's gotten so hallucinatory. I'm not always sure. Thanks for letting me horn in on your meeting, Haley.
No, thank you for doing this. This is
I'm
awesome.
gonna touch base then with Brenda and everybody right now then, okay?
Okay.
Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye, everybody. Thank
Thanks
you.
again.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Andrea.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jane.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.
You
Leave
too.
meeting.